Um, my name's Shannon, so I'm one of the dietitians here at On Point. If we haven't met, you may have seen me on, if you follow us on social media or Instagram, stuff like that. But tonight we're going to be talking about plant-based eating in the summer. So we created this webinar to help inspire you with some fun ways to include plant-based foods in your life and into the summer. It's a great time in the summer to include more produce in your life with seasonal fruits and veggies, gardening, farmers markets, barbecues. There's a lot of opportunities and ways to incorporate plants into the summer and making it fun. So we'll get into that soon. We'll go over some recipes, some fun things that maybe you've tried or want to try, and you all might be here for different reasons or wanting to learn about plant-based for one reason or the other. I think there's a chat. There is a chat. So if anyone wants to post anything in there, if anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, just feel free to type something into the chat, and you can find it there. Ask away. I would love if you wanted to share why you're interested in plant-based or what brought you here. I would love to hear about it. So a little bit about me before we get into it. Again, my name's Shannon. I'm one of the dietitians here at On Point. Been here for about 2 years now. I am specializing in plant-based nutrition, but I have all kinds of different types of clients. Kind of my journey to plant-based, like maybe some of you are plant-based or interested in it. There's a lot of different reasons why people come to plant-based and are interested in it. And I find more and more clients are interested in talking about it or learning about it a little bit. How I kind of got here, it was a slow transition. I was struggling with chronic cystic acne for a while in college and in grad school, and it was getting worse and worse. And I tried all the medications and facial topical things, and nothing was really working. So that's where I started to kind of put the connection between food and what I was putting into my body and what my symptoms were. So I'm now 3 years-ish, a little more than 3 years, plant-based, and have noticed so many benefits. My acne has cleared. I've noticed a lot of other benefits with digestion and even anxiety. So that's been a really cool journey for me. And I've now kind of made it my mission to learn more about plant-based and teach others about it that are interested in it. I have my certification in plant-based nutrition through eCornell, so it's been a really fun journey. And if anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, let me know. Okay, let's see about the chat. Looks like it's maybe disabled. Okay, hopefully this works, everyone. Chat with everyone. Okay, I think it should be okay now, but let me know. Okay, awesome. So now let's dive into about us. So you all know about us if you're clients. So we are an online nutrition counseling company. You work with one of our dietitians here. A big thing to notice before we get into things is that On Point does encourage, and I encourage, lifestyle changes and sustainable habits. So I think plant-based can sometimes get a little tricky with that because I think some people can have the mindset of restriction versus we're going to be talking about how we can include more plants and base our diets more on plants rather than focusing on restricting certain foods or eliminating certain foods. We'll get into the definition of plant-based soon, but keep in mind that this looks different for everyone, and it's whatever works for you, whatever is going to be sustainable and something that you can incorporate as your lifestyle. So the goal is that it feels sustainable and that these are lifestyle changes. So a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to dive into the benefits of plant-based lifestyles, maybe why you might be interested, tips for eating plant-based in the summer. We'll go through seasonal produce, some fun recipes that you all can include. Oh, and I also noticed there's a Q&A in here, so it looks like that's where we can find some questions also in there. And very cool, 30 years of being vegetarian. That's so awesome to hear. Okay. So some of the benefits of plant-based lifestyles, before we get into it, I wanted to point out the word lifestyles versus diet. So again, this really is a lifestyle and something that requires habit change versus a diet that's kind of like a set of rules and you have to do this and you can't do that. So we're going to refer to it as plant-based lifestyles. And then to define plant-based, really the definition is consisting largely or solely of vegetables, grains, or other foods derived from plants rather than animal products. So again, this can look different for everyone. Some people are totally plant-based, 100%. Some people maybe are 75% or vegetarian or lacto-vegetarian. There's so many different levels to being plant-based. So this looks different for everyone. If you're interested in it, I would encourage you to talk to your dietitian to find out what makes sense for you, how you can incorporate this. But again, the goal of being plant-based is to include more plants and shift our focus from animal-based to plant-based. So this looks different for everyone. Some of the ways that it is beneficial, if you think about increasing our amount of plants, our volume of plants that we're eating, that's increasing the antioxidant-rich foods in our diet. So this can significantly help with reducing inflammation. A lot of people are interested in this for environmental reasons. So that's a really interesting aspect of plant-based living. There's so many benefits, disease management and helping to prevent many diseases like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, improved cholesterol. There's recent studies about reducing the risk of dementia, improving the gut microbiome. So lots of different levels of benefits and interesting to explore what that looks like for everyone. What might your motivation be behind it? Some tips specifically for eating plant-based in the summertime. This is a really fun time to experiment with plant-based eating because there's just such an abundance of plants. So if you go to farmers markets or if you have a garden, there's many opportunities to have fresh fruits or vegetables in the summer. It does require, kind of like with anything and things that you might be already doing with your dietitian, is some level of planning typically. So if you're already kind of in the habit of creating a weekly menu or grocery shopping, figuring out what recipes you want for the week, eating plant-based can require kind of that, even an extra tiny step to, especially if you're first transitioning, to really be able to know what you want on your menu, what that recipe looks like, what you need to buy so that you feel organized and confident doing it. Maybe looking at the recipe ahead of time so it's not as overwhelming in the moment. Even looking at menus, if you're out somewhere in the summer, there might be a lot more seasonal options on the menu. So maybe you'll find some really cool salads that incorporate peaches or, some fresh produce or fresh fruits on there, something unique for the summer. So it's always helpful to look at menus ahead, see maybe what's a fun new thing you could try that is plant-based. Social events, they come up a lot in the summertime with events or parties or barbecues, gatherings of any sort, especially recently, maybe not in the last couple of years, but we're getting back to that a little bit more. So social events, planning ahead for those, and that goes into the next tip of bringing your own side dish is huge wherever you go. It's really hard to rely on other people to make plant-based meals or sides sometimes, but typically a lot of gatherings can revolve around the protein or some kind of animal-based food. So bringing your own side dish that is plant-based, we'll get into some fun recipes that you could bring, but this is really helpful. So at least you know you can eat something there and that you have an option, and you can make most of your plate that food that you're bringing. And then if you want supplemental sides, the goal is that, again, you're basing your diet around these whole plant foods and less of the animal products. So making at least 50% of your plate that plant-based, those plant-based options, which goes into our last tip of building your meal around plants. So kind of shifting that mindset of building our meal around protein and the animal protein and shifting that towards how can I get more plant food? So the whole grains, the high fiber starches, fruits and vegetables, legumes. How can you build your plate around that? So before we get into the seasonal produce and what's in season, let's go through the benefits of eating some seasonal produce. Again, there's so many different types of seasonal produce in the summertime, which is very fun. If you haven't already, I would encourage you to go to a farmer's market or a local farm, or if you have a garden, that's a great way to consume seasonal produce. So some of the benefits of this is it does help to support local farms, agriculture, the community, and oftentimes it's more nutrient dense than the produce in the grocery stores. If you think about it, produce in season has a higher nutritional value since it's oftentimes consumed closer to harvesting and is more fresh. When there's longer period of time for traveling, it kind of loses more of the nutritional benefits and value. Another big thing, especially with prices going a little crazy recently, is that eating locally and eating in season tends to be more cost effective, especially with less travel expenses going to grocery stores, things like that. So that's a benefit. And it's also a great way to kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit. I find in myself and a lot of clients that it's easy to get into a rut of eating kind of the same foods. So eating locally can kind of help you try new things, experiment with new foods or new recipes. And lastly, it's more environmentally friendly if anyone is interested in the benefits of that. It requires less transportation, refrigeration, and other resources. So those are the benefits. And let's get into what some of these seasonal produce are. So here is a list of some fruits and veggies that are in season. Again, if you have anything local, some farmers markets, you'll see a bunch of seasonal produce there. It's nice to kind of know ahead of time what's in season. So you have, again, some kind of plan to, if you're making a recipe or if you're figuring out your menu for the week, it's nice to kind of know what you're working with. It can also be fun just showing up to the farmer's market or to the grocery store or wherever you get your produce. It can be a fun way to get out of your comfort zone, try something new. So that could be a fun way to incorporate some of these things. So now we're going to get into some of the recipes and how you can kind of include some of these produce into your summer. Let's see if we have any questions first. Okay, we'll get to that one. at the end. Thank you, Shalina, for your question. Okay, so some fun ways to incorporate summer seasonal produce and make them plant-based. The first recipe I wanted to share is this chickpea quinoa salad. And we'll go through a bunch of recipes, but you can find all of these on the member portal. So check them out there. So in this recipe, you can find the seasonal produce that we'll find is cherry tomatoes, cucumber, bell peppers, even some fresh herbs you can throw in there. And you're always welcome to add whatever seasonal produce that you'd like to any of these recipes. That's what makes it fun. So you could bring this. I'm actually going to bring this to a gathering in a couple weekends. This is one of my favorites, something that a lot of my clients use. This is really nice to kind of prep for the week for lunches or dinners or even a snack. A fun way to get in some seasonal produce. You can also bulk it up by making it into adding some arugula or lettuce to make it into a nice big salad to add some volume for a meal. But it's a great side dish at a gathering and really refreshing. Doesn't require a lot of prep. The next one is this avocado corn salad. I was just talking to one of my clients about this. A fun way, corn is coming in season or it's sprouting, so it's going to be pretty abundant the rest of the month and the rest of the summer. So this is a fun way to, a fun thing to bring to a gathering, either a side dish, or again, you can make it into a meal and bulk it up with some lettuce a little bit more. What you might see as a common theme here is I threw in a lot of salads, which is a great way to incorporate produce, veggies, seasonal produce, summer produce. Salads you can get really creative with. You can change the base, you can change the veggies, the flavors. So salads are just a fun way to incorporate a lot of different types of vegetables and flavors. You can do pasta salads, corn salads, quinoa, potato salads, so on. So it doesn't have to be what we traditionally think as a salad. And this cucumber tomato salad, again, incorporates cucumbers and tomatoes as your seasonal produce. This is something that's really refreshing, really simple, especially if you have an abundance of tomatoes and cucumbers that some of you might be growing in your gardens or your neighbors might have, or you see in the grocery store for really cheap because they're so abundant right now. This is a great fun way to get these veggies in. So this would be great with, if you wanted to make it into a meal or a snack, you could add hummus to kind of a piece of toast or something that you could have it on the side, or some beans or something to give it a little more protein and starch, make you feel full and satisfied for even a meal. Or if you make this, you could prep a whole bunch of this in the beginning of the week or for a couple days, and this could be your veggie serving with lunch or dinner, or again, like a side dish to a cookout or something like that. These mushroom veggie burgers are a fun kind of twist on traditional veggie burgers. A lot of veggie burgers will use black beans, which are awesome too. But if you want to use some seasonal produce, these mushrooms are a great way to do that. What's nice about mushrooms is, and I saw one of the questions was how to kind of replace meat. So one way to do that to get in more vegetables is through mushroom burgers are really great and an easy thing to do at cookouts. You can just throw this on the grill, this mushroom veggie burger or a portobello mushroom. They have a nice meaty texture and umami flavor. So it's got that almost like meaty feel to it. So it's a fun way to have something fun to have at a barbecue without really missing the meat. Also, I wanted to mention that There's different ways to prep food. So I mentioned grilling, and that's one of them. So if you're ever finding like you want to try a new vegetable, or you're unsure how to kind of change things up, or you want to get some variety of flavors or textures, switching up how you prepare it with grilling or air frying, steaming, baking. There's so many different things that you could do. I know grilling a lot of people take advantage of in the summertime because it's a fun thing to do, to be outside. You've got it like kind of a different flavor and texture when you do it. So that's a fun thing to take advantage of. Pico de gallo is one of my favorites. I had to throw this in here. So this is a great way to consume seasonal produce with tomatoes are kind of the base for this traditional pico de gallo. And then we also have a mango pico de gallo, which uses mango as the seasonal produce. And we also have a pomegranate one, which is delicious as well. So you can get creative again with the base of it. So you can use any summer fruits. I've made before like a peach salsa, which is really tasty, or even cherries I've seen before. So this is really fun for a Taco Tuesday or really any day. So this is a fun thing to incorporate to have as a snack, or again with meals, or to bring to a barbecue as kind of an appetizer. So a couple more that include some more seasonal fruit. This strawberry feta salad is fun. Again, salads are a fun way to get in different seasonal produce and different flavors. The strawberry here is really nice. You get that like sweet kind of flavor, and the strawberries right now are delicious. So if you are a person that likes fruit in your salad, I highly recommend this. And if you're wanting to make this more plant-based, you can opt out for the feta cheese and incorporate maybe like a alternative cheese, cashew cheese, or use more almonds or nuts or something to kind of replace it. And then the watermelon feta salad is also a really fun one to incorporate. If you've ever tried watermelon in a salad, it's delicious. So if you haven't, I recommend. So the watermelon really does pair well with more savory flavors. So it's a fun thing to have. Some other ideas, you could do fruit salad is always a fun thing to bring to any kind of gathering, or even for yourself for the week, to just have fruit ready to go, include a lot of different fun seasonal fruits, roasted veggies or air fried veggies, like grilled veggies, kind of like what we talked about with the different preparation styles. Include a different kind of preparation, see if you like it, kind of switch it up. Any recipe that you do enjoy, or any recipe that maybe you currently love right now that isn't plant-based, I would challenge you to try to see how you can make it more plant-based, and maybe some things that you can swap out. You can talk to your dietitian about what that looks like, how you could do that, how you can incorporate that, maybe what substitutions or things that you can add to it to make it more plant-based. Something else I would challenge all of you to do is, next time you're in the grocery store or go to a farmer's market, something this summer, try a new fruit, try a new vegetable, and step out of your comfort zone a little bit and see how you can incorporate it and how you like it. I think I find myself doing this all the time. I haven't tried artichokes. I haven't tried a lot of things. So it's, again, we kind of get used to and comfortable with a lot of foods that we typically eat often. So try a new fruit, try a new vegetable, something that is plant-based that maybe you might find that you love and that you want to incorporate more. So we'll get to your questions, but just to kind of review, any chance to increase the amount of whole plant foods in your diet you're going to benefit from it. So whatever your health goals might be, if you're interested in environmental impact, this eating more plant-based will benefit you and the environment in some way, shape, or form. So again, ask your dietitian about it, how this connects with your specific goals. There's many benefits that we went over, so maybe one of them resonated with you, or bring this up with your dietitian if there's something else, some other goal that you're working on, to see if somehow this would relate. See how maybe one of these recipes sounded good to you, and maybe how you can include some seasonal produce into your life. That would be a fun goal to have for the summer. It's a great time to kind of experiment just due to the abundance of produce available right now. So maybe try replacing a burger next time with a portobello or mushroom burger. Or next time you grill out or go to a social event, maybe bring a side dish or some kind of salad that everyone could enjoy. So I would, again, challenge you to step out of your comfort zone a little bit, try something new. And that's what's fun. Eating plant-based should be fun, is fun. So think about ways that make you excited to eat more of these foods and incorporate them. And I forgot to mention, this is also Plant-Based Month at On Point. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, here is our Instagram. So follow us there. We'll have some client takeovers and some interviews this month, and I'll be on there a little bit later this month to talk about things a little bit more. So thank you for coming, everybody. You'll get an email with the recording and more information to your email tomorrow. And again, if you need additional support regarding this topic or any topic, discuss with your dietitian, reach out to me on Instagram if you want. And then let's see some of these questions. Okay. So Shalina asked about how to get enough protein and kind of newbies when replacing animal-based protein. That's a really great question. So that's something we talk about all the time. I talk about all the time with clients that are transitioning to plant-based or that are plant-based. So that's something I would ask specifically your dietitian, what kind of your targets are, how you can do this. I think it's important to start with what your goal is. Do you want to be fully plant-based? There might be some adjustments that can be made to your targets, but really the main way that you're going to get in protein is through beans and lentils, nuts, hummus, like veggie burgers, tofu. Some people that are first transitioning from meat to no meat, an easy way, kind of transitioning period could be to just simply replace the meat. So if you have a burger, have a bean burger instead. That still is protein. Or if you typically have, say, like a chicken stir fry, maybe try tofu, or maybe if you're having a pasta meal, try the chickpea pasta to still get some protein in. So there's little substitutions like that would be easy. And you can also, it's kind of a mindset shift, kind of what we talked about, like eating plant-based. So I would encourage you to find cuisines that are kind of naturally plant-based that do include protein. So like Mexican food that, like a bean bowl, or a lot of Indian dishes or curries, things like that naturally have protein and that are naturally plant-based. So there's not too many substitutions going on, so it doesn't feel super overwhelming at first. And then another question, a substitute for quinoa, you could use brown rice, would be a similar substitute in terms of like starch and fiber. So any kind of grain would be good, brown rice, farro, any kind of grain, barley that you would enjoy would be a good substitute for quinoa. And then let's check out the chat. like the avocado corn salad. Good. I'm glad it's a hit. Awesome. Okay. Thoughts on protein bars? They're one that I like. Yeah, protein bars are great too. That's a great idea. That's a good snack. I think a lot of protein bars, it can be tricky to find the perfect one. I do like Lara bars since they have minimal ingredients. It's just plants, so it's just dates and nuts, which is great. And there's still protein in it, good fats. On the member portal on the offers page, there's a lot of really great protein bars that are plant-based too. A lot of protein bars might have whey or some kind of dairy or eggs in them. So I like the 88 Acres has a good protein bar. The Rise bars are plant-based and they have a lot of good protein in there too. So those are a couple I can think of off the top of my head. Anyone else have any questions? Awesome. Well, that is all I had for tonight. Thank you so much for letting me share with you about eating plant-based in the summer. If you have any questions after this, follow us on Instagram, send us a message, ask your dietitian so you can follow up. And I hope everyone has a lovely evening and a great week.